Imagine walking next to an aisle of rings and trying to choose a perfect wedding ring for your significant other, and you're torn between buying a perfect one and selling your kidneys to pay for it. And you wonder, why do we wear wedding rings when we get married? Who started it and what's the meaning behind it? Well, stick around and find out why. Right, so the story of the wedding rings is a fascinating one, and it starts way earlier than you probably expect. When I was researching this, I saw different numbers. I've seen everything from 3000 all the way to 5000 years ago. Let's just say it was a long time ago when the Egyptians were wearing these rings of love. You know, why is it always the Egyptians in history? Anyway, at the time, a ring was a powerful symbol. The circle was a powerful figure, as it has no beginning and no end, and that was to show a promise of forever. The circle was also the shape of the sun and the moon, which the Egyptians worshipped at the time. Of course, the rings were different back in the day. Unlike today, rings were not made of metals, but made of plants and leather. Later on, different cultures took the tradition and made their own changes to it. When Alexander the Great conquered the Egyptians, the Greeks took on the tradition of giving rings to their lovers. Later on, when the Romans conquered Greece, they picked up on this tradition and started using iron and copper rings for their own weddings. And before we talk about why do we wear the ring on our fourth finger, don't forget to leave a like or comment. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm, as a lot of time goes into making these videos. So, have you ever wondered why do we wear the wedding ring on our fourth finger? Well, that depends on who you ask. There's still a debate on whether the Romans or the Egyptians started this ritual. At the time, the Romans believed that the fourth finger had a special vein directly connected to the heart. They even called it vena amoris, or vein of love. The Romans adopted this belief when they conquered Egypt and started wearing their wedding rings on their fourth finger. Well, I hate to break it to you, but it turns out that humans don't have such a vein connected to the heart, which makes it quite weird that after all this time, we're still wearing the wedding rings on the fourth finger. I guess old habits die hard. It was also during this time that wedding rings were made of iron. Usually, a bride was given two rings, one made of iron and the other made of gold. The iron ring was to be worn at home, while the gold ring was worn in public to display their wealth, and well, I guess, to impress people as well. It wasn't long before wedding rings began to be personalized. A short verse could be inscribed on the ring, and as time went on, the messages became more personal, with engravings being added to the inside of the ring to keep the message private and close to the one wearing it. To this day, many couples still add an engraving to their rings for a touch of romance. And by the way, did you know that until quite recently, only the brides wore a wedding ring? I'm only talking about 100 years ago or so. Yep, there was a time that only brides traditionally wore the wedding rings. But like so many things in history, 2 world wars changed all of that. The soldiers that were fighting in the war wanted something on hand to remind them of who was waiting for them to come home. And after that, it became a standard that both partners now wear the wedding rings. So, what do you think about the subject? I gotta say, I was quite fascinated when I was researching this. The way each culture has its own meaning attached to the wedding rings. For example, in the Western cultures, the ring is worn on the left hand. In other cultures, however, the ring is worn on the right hand, since that's the hand that's used for oaths and vows. Let me know in the comment section below, but be nice to each other. And if you like these kinds of videos, make sure you check out the rest of the channel as well.